Obviously, weather conditions are always huge factors in what we're trying to do with crops and grass. Is there a situation where our product works better or worse versus, what I mean by that is bad weather or good weather, dry conditions, too wet, too dry, or too hot, too cold, or bad ground versus good ground on a farmer's land? Does our product work any better in certain conditions or situations?
I think the best way to look at TerraOne when you're thinking of that, first is the question of bad ground versus good ground. TerraOne's going to work in both. It's going to work differently, but it's going to work in both. In good ground, it's going to help because it's going to push the nutrients again through the soil solution. And in good ground, you have better soil solution versus bad ground. And what I mean by bad ground is usually the fertility is an issue. But if you're adding a fertilizer, TerraOne's going to help even in the quote-unquote bad ground because it's going to still push nutrients. But when you look at environmental conditions and understand, regardless whether it's grasses or row crops or whatever you're trying to grow, the one parameter that is consistently must be there is moisture. Moisture creates soil solution. Soil solution is the lifeblood to any plant. If you don't have that lifeblood, it'd be like taking the blood out of a human being. We wouldn't survive very long. It's the same thing. So what is critical, I think, when you're looking at the success or non-success of TerraOne is to always first and foremost remember, TerraOne does nothing to harm production. So if you're seeing a variation in production, it's usually due to one of the many complex parameters that goes into growing a crop, regardless of what crop it is. But remember, we neither produce nutrients, the nutrients have to be present in the soil, and the soil solution has to be adequate to grow a crop. If you don't, TerraOne's not going to benefit you a tremendous amount. That being said, I believe that in certain situations of, let's say TerraOne may not perform particularly well on a given site. Many times that's either environmental condition or it could be just the way TerraOne was handled and applied. So it's always important that we understand. And one of the newer things that are going on in farming today that we have to be careful when we're comparing yields is the new precision planting. If you're going to compare yields, you have to compare it to the same population. Whereas in precision planting, you might vary that population. So you might take your harvest audit in one population and compare it to the other. Therefore, the yields are not going to be the same. So there's many, many factors that go into it. But always remember, TerraOne's not just about yield producing. We understand the need for a payback. But remember, soil is the most important asset to a farm. And so asset management carries that also value to it. It's a little more intangible to compare, but remember, your soil is being improved, so that asset value is going up.